Welcome to your Zoll monitor video. We're going to learn how to use the Zoll monitor from the inside out. You're going to learn everything on the outside of all the inputs for all the wires that we can plug in for our nurses, as well as go ahead and turning on the Zoll monitor and going over everything that is required of all of our primary EMTs on the NICU PICU program to know how to do. We will be going over things in depth. Go ahead and show this video to all your trainees if you'd like, or FTOs. Learn how to use everything through this video, and then go ahead and show all your EMTs how to do everything in person, either at the UC Davis PICU equipment room or at the Kaiser PICU equipment room. So we're gonna get started with everything on the outside here. We'll begin with the ETCO2. As you can see here, there is a input for CO2 here. The way that we are gonna be inserting any of our ETCO2 cables, they are yellow like this most of the time, and it's gonna be a screw on, as you can see here. What you will be doing, you'll be bringing this down here and screwing this in. To take it out, again, you're going to be screwing it out. This will be connected to vent tubing that is usually attached to a patient during a respiratory distress call. Next, we'll be discussing our invasive blood pressure and temperature. That will be on the right-hand side of your monitor. That will be to plug in any invasive blood pressure cables that we use to gather continuous blood pressure readings through the artery. You'll also be able to attach a temperature cable as well to get a continuous temperature reading from the patient. In order to attach your temperature cable, you will be attaching this side into the T1 here where it says temp T1. You'll plug that in here, and then you will use this cable to then attach to a temp probe on the patient. In order to grab an invasive blood pressure and attach that cable here, self-explanatory, you can see it says invasive pressure P1, P2, P3. Start with P1. You'll go ahead and get your cable and you will plug that in here. Invasive blood pressure cable plugged in there. Before we go ahead and turn on the monitor, there is one more cable that you need to know that is attached to our Zoll monitors. Here is a cable attached to Zoll monitor. This is where your Zoll pads will be plugged in order to be able to deliver a shock during a code. Here is your cable. It's red and white like this. It's attached already to your Zoll monitor. When you get your Zoll pads, make sure you plug it into here as if instructed to you by your nurse. If necessary to replace Zoll monitor paper, you will go ahead and go to the left-hand side of your Zoll monitor. Found here on your left-hand side, you can go ahead and take your finger and attach it just like that. It opens up there. You can go ahead and take your empty roll out by simply removing it. And then once removed, go ahead and open up your new Zoll monitor paper and attach it in here. When you remove the Zoll monitor paper from the packaging, make sure it's down like this. So the opposite of what you would normally put a toilet paper roll, for example. You want to go ahead and bring it in here. You will put it inside. There are two little latches that hold it in. And we want to make sure that this is coming out like this from below. And then when you close it, there is paper left hanging over. The paper is left hanging over from under. And you go ahead and close it. And this should be able to print now easily without snagging. We'll now go ahead and turn on the Zoll monitor. The power button can be found up top here. It's a green button. Now that our Zoll monitor is powered on, we notice that it's currently not receiving any vitals, so everything looks very blank, but you can understand how it would look if vitals were all present. We'll start with the right-hand side here with all the buttons. We have a silence button up here. This silences the alarm for about 1 minute and 30 seconds. We never press that button unless we are both informing the nurse of why the alarm is going off and then give permission to silence the alarm. You press that button to silence the alarm for 90 seconds. The next button will be your homepage button. Let's say we go into log, print trends. You'll notice this menu shows up, but let's say we don't need this menu anymore. You go ahead, press that homepage button, and you should go back to the homepage to get all of your vital readings again. Next up will be these arrow buttons and the select button. The circle selects anything that you are currently highlighting. These arrows allow you to highlight different areas of your homepage or of your screen. So as you toggle through these buttons, you'll notice other different things get highlighted. Let's say the blood pressure, that's currently highlighted. You went down to get that to happen, you go back up to go backwards. Let's say blood pressure is highlighted, we want to select the blood pressure to look at the settings for the blood pressure. You go ahead and press that select button, opens up the blood pressure menu. This blood pressure menu allows you to adjust limits, to turn on and off the alarm, or to decide when and how long you'd like to monitor your vitals. If we want it to be monitored on auto for every 15 minutes, that's what it's currently set to, and that's the standard. If your nurse asks you to change how often you'd like your vitals to be read, go into the blood pressure menu, toggle through. You can go down to the auto mode interval, you select that, and then you can select 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. This happens rarely. We usually stick to 15 minutes, so keep that there. Now, let's say what I just discussed, if we want to go back to the home page, instead of toggling through to the back button, go ahead and just press that home page button, goes back to the home page. The next button is going to be a snapshot. This allows you to take a snapshot of the entire home screen, and that gives the nurse an opportunity to just see everything that's currently happening at the exact moment. If the nurse asks you to take a snapshot of the Zoll monitor vitals, that's the button to press. It looks like a little camera. The last and final button will be your blood pressure button. This button allows you to take a blood pressure. This button also then starts to take vitals and reads those vitals every 15 minutes on auto. So when we attach all of our vital monitoring equipment onto the patient, you are required to and expected to, of all our EMTs, to press this button there. That button then starts to read a blood pressure and take vitals every 15 minutes. Now we're here on the left-hand side of our Zoll monitor. On this Zoll monitor, we have buttons that correlate with the menu selections on the actual screen. If you'd like to press the back button, for example, you're going to choose the lowest button there. If you want to press log, you're going to press the button that correlates with that menu item. And now if we'd like to print trends, you're going to press print trends. And in this menu, you're going to select the trip that you just most recently went on, or the trip that correlates the most with what you just had. So for example, if you went on July 12th, 2025, and your trip started at 9:25, or when you first press this blood pressure button to first start taking vitals, that's going to be the one that you would like to print. So you're going to select that one using the buttons we just discussed on the right here. You press the select button, you'll see a little check mark, and instead of going all the way down through all of your events and all of your trips, you're going to click this top button here 4 times until you're highlighting print trend summary, and then you're going to press select button again. You'll notice it starts printing a strip. Then you're going to go ahead and rip off that strip. Always pull up and away. And again, to go back to home page, use that home page button. That is how you print your trends. Log, print trends, menu. On this left-hand side, you also have a couple of other items you want to do. So let's say we just plugged in our invasive blood pressure monitoring cable. This one here, P1. If that blood pressure cable is plugged in, you want to go ahead and press the IBP button. That's going to be the second one down here on the menu. When you click that button, it's going to ask you which one did you plug in, P1, P2, P3. You'll click P1. Once you're in this menu and you look at the menu properly, if the limits need to be adjusted via the nurse's instructions, go ahead and do that. But what you're going to do is you're going to zero the probe. So you're going to go down if that option is available. You're going to go down to that selection, highlight it, press the select button. Once the probe is zeroed out, the invasive blood pressure will show up here on your home screen. If you plug in your ETCO2, as instructed earlier in the video, plugged in here on the left-hand side, if you screw in that ETCO2, you're going to have to press the ETCO2 selection button. You're going to find it here on your menu items, 3 rows down, and you're going to go ahead and press it. That will then allow us to view the ETCO2 readings here on the screen, as you see in the middle here and the bottom there. If you need to adjust other limits and you don't want to use the selections out here, you're going to go ahead and click this yellow button here. This is the yellow alarm button, 3 rows down here on this menu. And you're going to press limits, also 3 rows down. This shows up a menu that shows all of our readings, all of our vital settings, and all of their limits. To set limits, highlight the one you'd like to adjust. In this case, the blood pressure systolic alarm. You'll press the select button. It'll open up another menu. You can either toggle on and off the alarm completely, if that's what the nurse asks you to do, to toggle off the alarm, or set the upper and lower limit. Highlight the upper limit, press the select button, and bring it up and down using the arrows on the right side there. Goes up, currently set to 145 as standard. You can toggle it up to 150. You then press the select button again. Your limit is set to 150. If you'd like to go back, once again, use that home button. If you have a vital that alarms repeatedly, instead of pressing the alarm button again for 90 seconds, you can ask your nurse if you'd like to adjust it to 4 minutes of an alarm. You can go back here, press the yellow bell button again, and there's going to be a bell that is crossed out like an X. If you press that there, the alarm is now suspended for 4 minutes instead of just 1.5 minutes. This can be very helpful on transports that you know you have a vital that is completely fine but continues to alarm either due to a malfunction or the cable that is being used isn't working. If your nurse asks for an ECG reading or a strip that shows the ECG or the echocardiogram, go ahead and press this button here. It's just a roll here that shows a heartbeat. You go ahead and press that button there. You wait 6 to 10 seconds. And you'll notice the strip is printing to the left there. Once you believe 6 to 10 seconds has passed, press that button once more and it stops. You notice here we have a reading of the ECG. Go ahead, lift it up, and away. So now you have learned the outsides of the Zoll monitor, from your invasive blood pressure input to your ETCO2 input, as well as your temperature input. You know where the power button is, and you know where to plug in your Zoll pads. Once the Zoll monitor is on, you've learned how to print trends and vitals. You've learned how to turn on the invasive blood pressure reading. You've learned how to turn on the ETCO2 reading, and you learned how to print a 6 to 10 second strip for your echocardiogram for your nurse. You also learned how to silence the alarm for not only 90 seconds, but also for 4 minutes using this yellow button here. You also learned how to set your limits. Very important on high acuity calls. These limits allow you to properly assess patients' vitals so that the alarm doesn't go off when it's not necessary. You now know how to use a Zoll monitor inside and out. Please review this video as many times as needed, and go ahead and make sure you are well versed in the Zoll monitor. If you have any more questions, please reach out to your leads or another FTO who might be well versed in the Zoll monitor. Thank you.